All right, Pattie, thanks for coming in and being on the Talkin' Tech podcast. I'd love to just introduce yourself if you want to get started and just a little bit about you, your background, and what you do specifically at Westchester and in the community.
Sure. So thanks for having me on this morning, Braedon. My name is Pattie Diggin, and I am the director of the Cottrell Entrepreneurship Center at Westchester University. I've been at Westchester University since 2011, joining first as adjunct faculty in the marketing department, and then over time developing relationships with other faculty members and community members at the university, and eventually winding up in my role of working with the Cottrell Entrepreneurship Center, starting as full-time director there in 2018. So it's been a great journey at WCU.
And I've had the absolute privilege to work alongside you in the center as well. So with my undergrad at Westchester, as my journey went, starting in 2017, all the way through 2020, I guess when I graduated undergrad, 2017, 2018, 2019, we were very well acquainted, and I learned a lot through the Cottrell Center. So it was really formative in my undergrad years, I'd say. So it's really cool to have you on and kind of stay connected over the years.
Yeah, it's really cool to be with you too. It's interesting you brought that up, Braedon, because yesterday I was sitting in my office doing some work at my laptop, and I looked up and I caught a photo of one of the teams that I had working for me at the Cottrell Center. As I mentioned to you previous to getting started here today, we are staffed at the Cottrell Center with students, which you engaged with a lot when you were building out your business ideas.
Yeah.
And I was looking at one of the teams with Gabby and Britt, and Brandon, not Braedon. Remember, I used to have Brandon, and I always mix up Brandon and Braedon. So I was looking at Brandon, who I believe is doing really well in Manhattan these days. But it's always neat to look back at my group pictures and remember the team that I was working with in that particular year.
Right.
Part of what I find really gratifying with working at the Cottrell Center is getting to meet some really fabulous young creative minds that have great ideas, as you did, and try to build out those ideas and come up with cutting edge products, new services, some involving technology, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but just being there to support entrepreneurs, whatever that might look like, right?
Yeah.
Because entrepreneurship is different, it's defined differently by different individuals. It could be a small business owner as an entrepreneur, or it could be someone who's innovating and creating the next best something. So we try to cover all the bases at the Cottrell Center.
Yeah, it must be an interesting challenge with such a wide range of potential entrepreneurs that come in through the door. So I would love to explore just some of the services and things that you actually offer at the center. So let's say I'm a student and I'm coming in, I'm a freshman or a sophomore at Westchester, and I have a business idea for a small business or a brand new product. What are some of the ways that you can help them get started?
Well, the first thing is to reach out and connect with the center. We do our best to try and promote that we're there for all students and faculty and staff at the university, and actually beyond the university as well. We are located in the College of Business and Public Management, but I'm always trying to stress that we are a resource for the entire campus, and as I said, even beyond that into the greater Westchester area and Chester County in general. So if you are someone new to, that has an idea, the first thing you need to do, as I said, is reach out to us. You can stop by the Cottrell Center, which is located, as I said, in the CBPM, which is at 50 Sharpless Street, corner of Sharpless and Church, room 318 and 319. I'm sure we'll have this posted somewhere else. But you can also email us at cottrellcenterwcupa.edu. You could email me directly, which is pdiggin@wcupa.edu. So that's it. First we get started, right? So then I would love to take time to sit down with whoever it is, a student, let's say, and talk about what his or her idea is. And then beyond that, where are they in their stage of development? So if it's just an idea that they're tinkering with, I strongly encourage students to do what you did, and that is participate in our business idea competition, which is now going to be called the Business Idea Challenge. Actually, we're rebranding a little bit this year, more to come on that. But that is a great place, as you know, to test out your theories, right?
Yeah.
So you're not generating revenue, you don't necessarily even have a company that's been formed yet, but you've got great potential for something.
Right.
So you tease that out in the competition.
Yeah, and the people, so I did that competition, I believe it was 2018,
Yes,
the year I competed
yeah, I
in
believe
that.
so.
And that was great. I mean, one, like you said, just to test your idea, see how it resonates, see how it compares to other people's ideas. Maybe you can get some ideas from the other participants in the competition of, oh, they did this or that, I should do that. Even if it's a totally different industry, just the way that they're structuring their finances or the way they're structuring their marketing campaigns. So a lot to learn. And one of my favorite things was just the people that are in the room during the competition are really interesting people in the community. So I met a bunch of people just doing that competition that we connected later and kind of taking the conversation further than just the competition and further than that pitch in that room. It's, oh, I can meet some people that are passionate about supporting new ideas. So I love that idea and excited to hear about the rebrand as more information comes out and how we can continue to support that.
Yeah, and the thing to note is that, especially because we're going to be sharing this podcast with many folks, we have 4 different tracks in that competition. So we do have a Chester County startup track, which we actually also expand a bit into Delaware County if need be, if someone that lives there and has an idea. So that means that if you're a startup in the community, you can participate in our competition, and there are cash prizes that go with the competition, as you know, which is great. So if you make it to the final rounds, you'll be guaranteed some cash, maybe starting around $1,500. So something to explore and check out. We have the finals of the competition in April of next year, but we are just in the process of opening the competition for submissions. So that's one thing. Now, also, if you came in with an idea that was related to social issues, we do also have a social innovation competition that we launched. This will be the 3rd year. So that's if you have ideas to that are going to support working with, let's say, addressing a social issue in our community, something to do with the environment, something to do with food insecurity. You run the gamut. But the social innovation competition is another great avenue for people to explore ideas. If you're in the nonprofit space in particular, that's the best place to go. So beyond the competition, we are a connector. You kind of brought that up in your discussion. What was it again that you did with Haley? You were with Haley in the business idea competition, right?
I was with Alexandra.
Oh, Alexandra, sorry. Haley was in that same
competition.
Was, yes. Yeah.
I think she was in the same year.
Yes, you were in a different team. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we did the entrepreneurship idea that we had, again, 2017, 2018, was it was totally online platform for musicians coming out and doing crowdfunding and supporting musicians. And then it was actually really interesting to see in 2020 how that totally came back around, because there are all these musicians that then needed supported because they couldn't do live performances anymore. So it was just interesting. But actually that business...
Entourage.
Yes, Entourage music.
Yeah.
So that business idea actually got me really interested in digital marketing and the digital technology space, building a website, social media, running a marketing campaign. So it's something that, and this I think is important for all students to know, or just people in a community, that starting a business the end product doesn't have to be that you have a successful business. You can learn so many things and find different interests within it. So I thought that was a great learning point for me too.
Such a great tie-in to me wanting to promote entrepreneurship in general, right?
Yeah.
I'm always saying that, the Entrepreneurship Center is not just for students that think they're going to start a business or have a business. Yeah. It's developing the entrepreneurial mindset, if you will. Yeah, so figuring out how to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Because even if you're working in a corporate setting, to stand out in that corporate setting, you've got to do something that makes you stand out, right?
Definitely.
So if you're someone that can problem solve, which is what you do in developing entrepreneurial ideas, it's going to get you ahead in whatever field you choose to work in. Yeah. So that's why I feel that the center is so important and so critical. So back to somebody that comes in with an idea. Yeah. All right, so say that their idea is a bit more developed. They still might be in some of the competitions, but they have an LLC, they're looking for funding.
Yeah.
That's usually what students, a lot of times students are coming in and they're looking for, and faculty members we work with. They're getting down the pike and now they need funding. So, and they may have moved beyond family and friends at this point, which is the first resource. So at that point, we try to connect them with some of our contacts in the community. We are a big connector because we're a small but mighty center with myself, undergraduate students, and a graduate student working, and my colleague, Dr. Monica Zimmerman, who is the executive director of the center. But we, as a team, are limited in what we can do. So we go beyond the walls of the university at this point, right? And we make connections within the community. They could be with local banks that we're working with. Several of the banks in Westchester are very supportive of our programming. Meridian Bank supports our business competition each year. Citadel is a main supporter of our women's conference, which is an entrepreneurship conference that I'm going to plug in a little bit. So, you know, we and other community partners along the way. Univest has been with us before as well. But then beyond, you know, your traditional banking, we also we work with the Keiretsu Forum, which is the largest angel venture funding organization globally. They we work with Howard Lubert at the Keiretsu Forum, who supports our business competition each year. He's very involved with that and with the center. And other, you know, potential venture capitalists. We have contacts also, we're very closely connected with community partners like the Chester County Economic Development Council. I sit on I2N, which is Innovation to Technology board there. They have some new leadership there right now with Matt and Gino, which is very exciting. Were you there last week you didn't join me for the reception there, right?
Unfortunately I wasn't able to make it last week, but we are also proud supporters and very involved with CCDC activities in the I2N initiative, which is specifically for innovation and technology, which you fall directly under that as well, because like you said, you're so involved. That's a great group.
So that's a great group. We get, you know, a small company is just growing and they're in the tech space. We strongly suggest that they become a subscriber of I2N, and for the investment, which is relatively low, the resources and the support that they get is really, really special. And on the female side, I work with an organization called the Freckled Strawberry, which is owned by Carly Bentley, or was founded by Carly Bentley, and that's all about, that's very specific. That's working mainly with women and having them have a comfort zone around finances and what it means to run a business from the financial aspect. So another great resource. And then of course there's our Chambers of Commerce, the Greater Westchester Chamber of Commerce, Chester County Chamber of Commerce, Exton Regional Chamber, Southern Chester County Chamber. I try to get out and about as much as I can. So I look at it as when I'm out networking, I'm doing that on behalf of those within the Westchester community, Westchester University community, bringing those resources and those contacts back into the university to support the students and what they're working on and developing. And as I said, our faculty and staff as well. So, Which
is incredible. I mean, that's what you just said there is such a broad scope, but still specialized of professionals and people that know what's going on in the community. It's such a great resource to have for students. And I know you briefly mentioned earlier the Cottrell Center and the entrepreneurship services that you provide. These go beyond Westchester University students, or it's strictly for Westchester University students?
No, we support our students, obviously our faculty and our staff, definitely our alumni as well, because once a Ram, always a Ram, right? A Golden Ram forever. And then we do work with community members. And a lot of that work is around our programming, right? So the programming that the Cottrell Center does is open to, most of it is open to our community members. So, for example, right now we have our Women's Entrepreneurship Conference, which it's a 10th anniversary. It started out of the Graduate Center of the university 10 years ago with 60 attendees, and I actually was one of the presenters at that original conference that was started by Monica Zimmerman and Jerry Francis of SCORE, Chester and Delaware County, which, by the way, I didn't mean to leave them out. They're a critical partner of the Cottrell Center, and they offer extensive support to those that are starting a business and growing a business. So they're another resource for our students, faculty, and staff, and the community. So the Women's Conference, as I said, was launched 10 years ago. It's now grown we are going to have a sellout, I'm sure, on the 20th of October.
That's incredible.
200 people in attendance, that's probably the capacity that we can handle. And it's going to be at the SECC, which is the Science Engineering Commons Center, which just opened last year at the university, in the ballrooms there. So we're really excited to have it right on campus. We've got a great lineup of women that are going to be providing the content, but the conference is open to all.
Oh, great.
It is not just for women, it's open to everyone, regardless of gender identity. And information on that can be found at the Cottrell Center website. As I said, we expect to sell out, so if you're intending to go to that, and that's something where we have a lot of community members that come. So it is open, of course, our students, faculty, and staff can go free of charge. For those in the general community, it's $35, which is a bargain.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a great price.
Continental breakfast, lunch, and a great program in between.
Wow.
So
that's
check that out, go to our website.
And when is that again?
That's on Friday, October 20th, it's in the morning, it's from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. Awesome networking opportunity. Really, really, really excited about it and looking forward to the final details of that. So that's an example of something the community would participate in. We also celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is the week of November the 13th through the 17th. We'll be hosting a networking event, hopefully with our students and community members, and that'll be held at Align Space.
Oh, great.
And so that, where we also have a community partnership, the Cottrell Center does, which is great. Again, it's a way to connect those that are in Align Space and those type of, the shared workspace with our students. Exposing them to what it could look like if you're a small business and you wanted to have, just a cooperative working space. Align Space would be a great alternative for you. So that's some of the things that we do. And as I said, our competitions are part of our programming. We have speakers and workshops throughout the year, depends upon the year. We did an awesome digital marketing workshop a couple of years back with SCORE again, and with the agency group. They came, and that we actually, just as a plug too, the Cottrell Center is a YouTube channel, and many of the workshops and programs that we've done, we've had recorded.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's with Danny Apex Productions. The shout out there for Danny Apex Productions. He's done some great work for the Cottrell Center. So you can go on and look up our YouTube channel and check out some of the programs we've done and workshops. We did another interesting one, Braedon, for Family Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
That I was really proud of. Great 3-part work series. So if you're a family enterprise out here in the Chester County area, check out the we recorded all 3 of the workshops, and they're really great, talking about succession planning and what it means to be a family enterprise. So again, another community-based resource.
Well, that's great.
Not just for our students.
I mean, because we primarily work with Chester County small business, medium-sized business, the family enterprise is near and dear to our heart. So that's great, and a lot of the businesses that we directly work with, and also that we present this podcast to, do fall into that.
And I learned a lot about them by experiencing this workshop. The last name of the gentleman who presented it is escaping me at the moment. His first name was Michael, but check it out. Really, you could use it, form your own kind of working group around the exercises that he suggests, but very important for those businesses that have a family connection to figure out what's the next best iteration going to look like in their succession planning. So
well, that's incredible. I mean, with all those resources, so your background, all of the resources that you can connect to, the education pieces, the programming and events, I mean, that's an incredible package for anyone in the community, and especially at West Chester University students, staff, but really anyone in the community to get involved with. I'd be curious to know, because we are technology folks here at IT Edge, what you've seen as far as students or community members coming through with new technologies or new ideas, new innovations that you're seeing coming through the center or just in the community. I'd be curious to hear more about those.
So over the past 2-3 years, been really fortunate to have some great shining examples of how students at WCU can start with an idea and bring it to be an actual product or service. So two that come to mind, and the first one has a really great technology component to it. That's with Jake Henry, who is a recent grad. He graduated this year from WCU, and Jake's company is Lectra Technologies actually. And Jake is working on the development of kind of a combination of kinesiology and electrostimulation tape, or the kinesiology tape and the electrostimulation. And the thing that makes it so unique, I went to a lot of national competitions actually with Jake this past spring, and so I learned a lot about it from all of his presentations, but there is a component that connects what's happening with the pulses, the pulsation, to an application, to a computer, a website application, so that you can track the progress that the stimulation is making. Because there are other products out there, I forget the one that's a TENS product or something, TENS I think it's called, that you can purchase online.
Yeah, like a TENS
that
machine.
TENS, that's a stimulator, but it doesn't tell you what the stimulator is doing, how you should turn it up or turn it down, how much more you need or how
Like
little
the
you need.
feedback from the body,
feedback,
yeah.
correct.
Exactly.
It provides biomedical feedback.
Yeah, great.
I think I hope I'm not
Sounds
misusing
right.
that term. But anyway, so that's a great example of technology.
Absolutely.
And then we have Zach Starr, who Zach has been working, interesting, so going back to our story of, so I'm a freshman at Westchester, how do I get started?
Yeah.
When Zach was a freshman, he is now in his junior year, but when Zach came in, one of the first people he came to see at WCU was me, Pattie Diggin, then director and still director of the Cottrell Entrepreneurship Center. And Zach sat down in my office and he told me that he's been an entrepreneur since he was 10 years old.
Well, there you go.
And he started with a travel agency business. His dad helped him get his LLC.
Wow.
And so he had the entrepreneurial bug in his, DNA since then.
Yeah.
And at that time, he introduced me to his product that he was working on. It was, I think, called Next. The company was Next at that point. It's now Quix. But Zach was very disturbed that so many young people had started vaping when, the vaping devices were introduced.
Yeah.
They weren't using it as an alternative to smoking. They just got right into vaping and were very addicted to it.
Yeah.
So he wanted to find a solution to that problem.
Yeah.
And fast forward, that led to Quix, which is an alternative vaping device that works on stepping down nicotine use to hopefully zero, and has already been launched in the UK.
Wow. That's great. Very fast turnaround.
If you want to know someone that works 26 hours a day, that's Zach.
Wow.
Crazy, but everyone that comes to the center is not going to have the motivation to be, because we want them to be going to school, by the way, too, when they're students. Zach manages to do that too, and I think he's going to graduate early, which is also incredible.
Yeah.
But we're there just, check out when we do work. As you said, as far as technology goes, we've had one of our previous entrepreneur residents which is another service that we provide. We have an entrepreneur residence each year.
Yep.
I'd love to tell you who the one is for our new entrepreneur residents, but back it up a couple of years ago, Guy Fardone, who is very, very active in the IT. He is actually the chair of the I2N board.
Yep.
And when he was an entrepreneur in residence, he came and spoke with several classes at WCU, and he actually, you're talking about what you do here at IT Edge. He actually was talking to students about the importance of learning to use technology. You must know how to use Salesforce if you're going to be successful, particularly in marketing and sales.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Those. So with the Salesforce division here, of course, that's something we're very passionate about. And I was just talking at some classes the other day, and that's actually something that I said as well. If you're interested in business, sales, Salesforce applications are great. Salesforce application is super important to know. So agreed.
So there are probably students out there, you bring up, or I brought up before Braedon. Braedon was a computer science major, and he launched a hackathon at WCU.
Oh, great.
Which he launched it the year prior to COVID, and then, and through an organization, I forget, it was a national organization that supported hackathons, very well structured, really great organization. And the hackathon brought together students from our computer science department and our business. It was a 24-hour overnight thing in the College of Business and Public Management.
Yep.
We were all set to go again in 2020, and March of 2020, yeah, so we all know what happened to that. It got blown up and never happened because it was the end of March, right off, after COVID.
Right.
So we haven't, I'd love to reignite another hackathon at Westchester and bring some technology space. We had several tech companies at the time that supported the hackathon, so something we can think about for a future collaboration with your organization.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, that's it's always just really inspiring for me to see the new businesses coming through the Cottrell Center. I mean, I'm sure some of them aren't super technology focused, but it seems, if I had to guess, I mean, from your perspective, does it seem like there are at least components of technology and everything coming through, or is it kind of, where does that fall? New ideas coming through, are they mostly technology oriented or not so much?
well, not surprising, when we do the business competition,
Yeah.
In previous years, it has been part of the Intro to Entrepreneurship class that is part of the entrepreneurship minor that we offer at Westchester.
Yeah.
Another way, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, you can take the minor.
Yeah.
Students were required to do business ideas, and at least 80% of the ideas are an app.
Oh, great.
And I actually taught that course a couple of times, and
that's 80%.
oh, sure.
Wow.
But I back people down, because how many apps can we use? I don't know. I guess I'm not as technologically.
Application development is
very,
it's time consuming, expensive if you aren't doing it yourself.
Yep, one of the more notable students that worked with the Cottrell Center and actually won the State System Startup Challenge and won the business idea competition at WCU was, Salih. Now his last name is escaping me. I'm sorry, Salih. But he was developing an application for tutoring. So
great.
Tutors for You
Great.
Was the name of his company. I haven't touched base with him recently, but as I said, he won the State System Startup Challenge as well. That's among the Pattie schools with his technology and that. But I will say that he ran into trouble, in my opinion, because he sourced out his technology overseas.
Yeah.
And there was no control factor, and was spending a lot of money without seeing what the progress was. So, but he was in the tech space as well with that idea.
Yeah, and investment and timeline are typically the two difficult things in the technology space from my experience. Maybe you've experienced that too in the startup world. It's just the funding for the technology innovation and the timeline for the technology innovation can typically start as one thing and then quickly change.
Yeah.
That's something that I experienced with Entourage. My startup idea is the cost and timeline of technology innovations.
Yeah, and how
different.
By the time you've got the money to do the technology that you're working on might be antiquated and needs to be updated, and bringing up timeline, that's the other thing. All those that want to start a business or develop an innovation, even more so than start a business, but both. It's a long runway.
Yeah, definitely.
Jake and Zach would be ones to really tell you that is for sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. The idea seems great, but remember, those investors don't invest in ideas.
Yeah.
They invest in teams with products and services that are going to address a specific problem or need effectively, and eventually be able to sell that company to a larger organization that can really take it to the next level.
Yep.
Exit strategy, always really important if you're an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So keep that in mind when you're coming up with an idea. That's back to the whole beginning of our conversation of what do I say when a student comes in and sits down and talks with me. The first thing I say is, tell me what makes your idea, or not first, but one of the first things. Yeah. What makes your idea or innovation so special? What makes it stand out from anything else that's out there? Yeah. I'm sure there's nothing else out there that is already doing what you think your idea would be doing, and so forth. So ideation is a process.
Definitely.
Another plug for within WCU for our students, we have an organization called CEO, which is Collegiate Entrepreneurship Organization. So we have a chapter at Westchester.
That's great.
Which Zach is the president of our chapter this year.
Oh, wow.
And Lily, who works at the Cottrell Center, is also on the executive team for CEO. They meet on Monday evenings in the CBPM. And Zach is taking students through the whole ideation process right now.
Great.
So how you get from idea to development, and everything in between, to launch and everything in between. What does that look like?
Great.
So, and then,
Incredible.
I hope I'm not saying too much, but then back to, I don't think I shared my professional background prior to joining the university and why I have such a passion for entrepreneurs. So most of my professional career was spent in business development, or sales if you'd like to call it that. I like to call it business development, and marketing. And then in 2004, I was working at doing marketing work with a shopping center and a little village, and I bought an ongoing retail business, children's book and toy store. And I thought, wow, I'm going to be a business owner, and I'm going to have my own store, and it's going to do fabulous things, and we're going to have all these authors come in, and which, it was an ongoing business, so that it already had a track record for that. But it was 2004. And if you want to talk about technology and what was happening, Amazon and their other friend Walmart were making these rapid climbs into what they are today, right? So your small business retail location, particularly in the space that I was challenged from the get-go.
Yeah.
So in 2011, I needed to close that business. But by working there, prior to owning my own business, I actually worked with many, many, many small businesses in my role in advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
So I have a really deep commitment and understanding to small business owners and what that looks like.
Yeah, and that's so valuable to have someone leading the center that understands, has been there, is not just a transplant from somewhere else and likes the idea of it, but has actually done it. Is very important.
I walked through the pain points. And
you understand it.
I understand them, and lessons learned is really important to me, and I feel that it brought me to where I am today. I was closing up the store. I always wanted to teach at Westchester, having completed my MBA there, and being so close. And every time I drive through, thinking, "Gosh, I want to work at Westchester University. I want to teach here." Applied to the marketing department. Dr. Jack Galt called me 2 hours later, and next thing you know, 6 weeks or so later, I was starting and teaching my first introduction to marketing course.
Wow.
And that was then, and here I am now, and really great to continue to work with students, faculty, and staff at the university, and to work with our community. One more thing you brought up is we do have a mentoring program.
Yeah.
So we're actually working to accelerate that right now. We use a platform called Startup Tree, speaking of technology.
Well, there's a technology.
There we go.
Right in the
We
center.
do have technology at the center. I shouldn't forget about Startup Tree. That is a platform that is used by entrepreneurship centers globally.
Yeah, really nice platform.
Yeah.
I got involved and got to play around with it a little bit, just with the mentorship profiles and the students that can join in and the mentorship connections that you can have right there. It's an incredible networking resource for the students and the community members generally. So.
Yeah, Braedon is one of our mentors actually that signed up on Startup Tree. That platform was actually developed by a student team at Cornell.
Oh wow!
So that itself was a startup idea.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I'm actually heading out to Dallas to the Global Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers Conference. So I'll have the opportunity to meet. There's going to be many vendors there that provide technology for startups and target universities. Yeah. So I'll be doing a lot of tech conversations over the next couple of days as well.
Glad we could start be the warm up for the tech conversation.
Exactly.
And I know you mentioned the resident entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned previously. So what's the role of the resident entrepreneur at the center?
Great question, and I'd like to introduce over the podcast our entrepreneur in residence for. Speaking of technology and a dynamic individual, the entrepreneur in residence for 2023-2024 is Mark Dewey, who is a marketing professor at Westchester University, and also teaches product development, and he has an AI course that he's doing this semester. Former owner of Prometrics. I don't want to get all of his companies wrong. Mark is a serial entrepreneur by for sure.
Yeah.
Extremely bright gentleman, and we are really proud and excited to have him as our entrepreneur in residence this year. I've known Mark since I started at Westchester in 2011, and I'm really glad to get to work with him in this capacity.
Yeah.
So our entrepreneur in residence really defines their role in our program.
Mm-hmm.
We allow them to define their role because it depends on who they are.
Right.
Last year, entrepreneur in residence was Lisa Wright Bryant, who is going to be a different entrepreneur in residence than Mark Dewey.
Yeah.
Lisa just has a different background, more in the small business. She herself is a small business owner,
Yeah.
so she's got that flair and teaches at Westchester as well and does a great job with our students. Mark will bring a whole different flair. He he funded the Dewey Immersive Center over in the SCCC.
Yep.
Very involved at Westchester, and we're looking forward to how Mark is going to work with us. But he is also available to mentor students.
Yep.
He is very excited about having the opportunity to work with students on developing their ideas.
Yeah.
He is he was one of the original mentors for Jake
Oh, great.
and
Yeah.
Lectra. Yep. So he's awesome.
Yeah, Mark was actually one of the first people when I went to Westchester, one of the first people that I got connected with and met. And just like you were saying, to have someone who has done serial entrepreneurship, started
And
his own businesses.
And sold many.
Yes,
many,
sold, successfully grown,
Exits,
and
yep.
to be a professor an incredible resource. Not unlike yourself as far as being able to say, I've been there, I've done this, and to not only be a professor and provide those resources for students, but also to open the door to conversations beyond the classroom or just mentorship. Like Mark and I have met for coffee and lunch, and to have someone who's the entrepreneur in residence that is so open to those conversations for the students, faculty, alumni, community members, another incredible resource. So I'm glad that we're able to talk about that.
Absolutely.
So moving forward now, I think we have a nice overview of all of the great things that the center provides. For business owners in Chester County or organization leaders, what's a great way for them to support what the center's doing?
That's a great question, Braedon, and I think it really depends upon what their business is.
Yeah.
And I would be open to having a discussion with anyone that thinks they want to be involved would like to be involved with the Cottrell Entrepreneurship Center to kind of feel out how they could support our students, faculty, and staff, and engage with the community. There's been, as I said, we have networking opportunities where we invite members of the community to come and find out more about what the center does. We certainly are always looking for anyone that wants to participate as a mentor. We'd love to chat with you. Sharing your expertise and experience with our students I know you find value in it, we find value in it.
Yeah.
I've had individuals approach me to want to speak to students that are involved in the entrepreneurship program.
Yeah.
That's something that we entertain. I just placed a former alumni, Stephen Cook, who met up with Monica, my colleague, and I this summer. He's a WC grad. He was a gymnast at Westchester University, and really can speak to sports management and how student athletes can have a career related to sports when they graduate. So I connected Stephen with one of our management classes, and he came in and spoke with students. So I have a lot of contacts both inside the university, outside the university, so whichever ones I can connect with our students, faculty, staff, and that's really one of my one of the main things that we pride ourselves on at the center is being a connector.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to continue those connections and those conversations. So feel free to reach out to me, and we can keep the conversation, or start the conversation, or keep it going depending upon the situation and who it is.
That's amazing. With all of the great things you offer, I think there are ways for everyone to get involved in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
As a mentor, a financial contribution, going and speaking.
Yeah, coming to one of our things.
Going to an
our
event.
women's conference. Come to the business competition when we have those, and the social innovation competition will be part of Social Impact Day, which we'll do in the spring as well.
Those are open
They're open to the
anyone?
community. We invite you to come. We try to have networking events after them or before them. So you're welcome to come and just get a feel for what the center's about, get a feel for what our students are working on.
Yeah.
Just, it's interesting. I've lived in Westchester now for I'm aging myself here, 34 years. And prior to working at Westchester, of course, I lived 7 minutes away, but didn't always take advantage of everything that was available at the university. So shout out for the university in general. Look at what we've got going on. There's shows, there's WC Live, there's concerts, there's dance recitals. There's just so many things happening in your own backyard. And, or you can go to a football game or any other sporting event, but lots to do at the university and at the center.
Well, thanks for coming on, Pattie. It was great to talk with you. It's always good to see you. From our relationship starting, 6 years ago at this point?
Yeah, time goes fast. I don't know, you're getting older, does that mean I'm getting older? But
I don't know, maybe it's only one of us.
Yeah, okay. Well, one final plug before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
I did want to say that the Cottrell Entrepreneurship Center is named that because it is named after Dr. Edwin Cottrell, who is 102 years young, speaking of age. Still very active with the center. We're trying to figure out how we can get him to speak with us.
He just visited, a year or two ago?
He visited, for the 150 campaign.
Yeah, 150.
Yep.
It was great to see the pictures of him in the office.
He's just an incredible inspiration. He was an entrepreneur in his own right.
Yeah.
He was a golf coach, but developed a golf training program after leaving the university. So he has his own entrepreneurial background. Very proud World War II veteran. But the center was named for him and was established with a founding gift from Claire and Gary Daniels. Gary Daniels is the owner of Creative Financial, also a company that's very close to the university and close to the Cottrell Center. And Gary has been an avid supporter, and a shout out to all of the supporters of the center. We rely on support through community connections and mentors and so forth, but we also rely on financial support. So we appreciate all the sponsorships that we've gotten over the years, all of our individual donors who donate to the center through the foundation. So keeping that support up is another way that you can help the center to continue to do all the great work and continue to work with students like you, Braedon. And I love that we stay connected beyond graduation, which is also one of the really great inspirational things for me personally. So it's been great being here with you this morning and chatting.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pattie. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Braedon.